Okay, so cloud security. This article you sent me, wow, talk about a wake-up call. It really highlights how important this is getting.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? The article makes a point that really resonated with me. It's less a question of security incidents will happen and more like when. And the challenge is, understanding what that means for you, your specific risks.
Makes sense. Because, I mean, it's not just about, like,
Correct.
hackers, right?
Mhm.
Even though that's obviously a big part of it.
Absolutely. The article breaks down all the different kinds of threats. And honestly, some of them, like that whole misconfiguration thing, it made me realize how easy it is to slip up.
This configuration, yeah, that's a big one. It's not some, Hollywood hacker in a hoodie.
Yeah.
It's literally as simple as one little setting that's, like, accidentally left open.
And boom, your data's on a billboard. One thing I found interesting is how the article talks about companies moving towards infrastructure as code, which, yeah, it's efficient, but also it's another way to accidentally open a door for security flaws, one keystroke, and
Disaster.
pretty much.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's the human element, right? The insider threat.
Oh, inside threat. Okay, before we go there, can we back up a sec? We keep saying data, but what kind of data are we even talking about?
Good point. It's everything. Think customer information, financial stuff, internal emails, anything that's valuable to you or your business is valuable to someone else too.
Okay, so back to these insider threats. We talk about, like, disgruntled employees going rogue,
Mm-hmm.
selling secrets.
Sometimes, yeah. But the article points out that it's often way simpler than that it's negligence. Someone accidentally emailing the wrong file or, falling for a phishing scam. That's why that whole security awareness training thing is so crucial. You can have the best systems in the world, but human error.
The weak link.
Exactly. But, and this is where it gets interesting, the article talks about how you can turn that weakness into almost an asset. It's like instead of your employees being the weak link, they're almost your first line of defense.
Okay, I like that. So how do we actually DO that? How do we build those defenses? This article mentions a lot of tech stuff,
Oh, yeah.
but it feels like the main point is there's no, like, magic solution.
Exactly. It's not about finding that one magic tool. It's more like building layers. And it all starts with the basics, really.
Basics. Like what? Give me the, like, security 101 stuff.
Sure. The article actually uses a good analogy about, like, building a house, right? Strong walls, solid doors, good locks, that's your encryption, your IAM, stuff like multi-factor authentication. It seems obvious, but you'd be surprised how often those fundamentals get overlooked.
Right, so that's our foundation. But then the article mentions all these other tools, too, like CASBs, SIEMs. It's a whole alphabet soup of acronyms.
I know. It can get overwhelming for sure. But I think of it like these tools are like specialized gadgets in your security toolkit. A CASB, for example, that's like having a security guard posted up at all your cloud apps, right? Making sure only the right people with the right devices get in.
So if I'm using a bunch of different cloud apps, a CASB helps me keep track of all that from one place.
Exactly. It's especially handy if you've got people accessing the cloud from like all over the place, different devices. You know the deal. It's about control.
Gotcha. Okay, what about SIEMs? What are those?
Those are your security analyst's best friend. Imagine trying to keep track of all the security logs, alerts from like a million different systems. A SIEM, it pulls all that data together, analyzes it, and flags anything fishy in real time.
So it's like a 204/7 security guard who never misses a thing.
Basically. But there's a misconception that it's only for like huge companies with dedicated security teams. The article actually highlights how there are these cloud-based SIEMs now that are much more manageable, even for smaller businesses. It's about finding what fits your needs.
Right, not one size fits all. Okay, so we've talked about the basics, dipped our toes into the tool pool. What else should we be thinking about?
Well, the article touches on compliance, but I think it's worth spending a little more time on that. A lot of companies, they see compliance as this chore, a box to pick.
I gotta admit, compliance doesn't exactly scream exciting.
I get it. But here's the thing. Compliance can actually make you more secure, and it can even give you an edge business-wise.
Wait, really? How so?
Think about it. When you're compliant with those big industry standards like ISO 27001, SOC2, whatever it is, you're basically showing your customers, hey, we take this seriously, we're protecting your data.
Oh, that's a good point. In a world where data breaches are like a daily news item, that kind of reassurance means a lot.
Exactly. It builds trust, which can lead to new business, and it shows you're committed to best practices, all that.
It's like a security seal of approval almost.
A very valuable one, for sure.
So it's not just about, like, checking boxes and avoiding fines. It actually makes good business sense to take compliance seriously.
100%. And there was another interesting point in the article about how if you think about compliance early on, it can actually make your whole security setup smoother, you know?
Oh, interesting.
Because it forces you to think about data governance, risk management, all that, and that can actually reveal weaknesses you didn't even know you had.
So it's like you're improving your security posture overall just by going through the compliance process.
Exactly. Now, I know we've thrown a lot of information at you today. It can be overwhelming, but the main thing is just to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, where do you even begin? If you're, like, starting from scratch, what's step one?
The article really stressed figuring out your own risk profile. What data do you actually have? Where is it? Who can get to it? What happens if it goes missing? Once you've got a handle on that, on your unique risks, then you can start to figure out your priorities.
So don't try to do everything at once. Focus on what matters most for you.
Right. And don't be afraid to ask for help. You know, there are tons of resources out there, security consultants, online groups, whatever. You don't have to figure it all out alone.
Nobody's expecting us to be cybersecurity gurus overnight, right?
Absolutely not. It's a journey. And things change so fast in this field. You got to stay up to date, keep learning.
Always learning, always adapting.
That's the spirit. And remember, the best tech in the world won't help if you're not bringing your people along with you. Train them, educate them, make them part of the solution.
This has been a fascinating deep dive. I'll be honest, cloud security can feel kind of intimidating.
It's a complex world, for sure.
But I'm walking away from this feeling a lot more confident, so thank you for that.
Happy to help. It's all about making cybersecurity a little less mysterious, right?
Absolutely. And for everyone listening, if you found this deep dive helpful, we'll be back soon with more deep dives into all sorts of interesting topics. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it. And in the meantime, stay curious and stay secure.